Your safety, the pin, the chassis, the bolt face, the magazine insert, a saddle mount system, daylight scope, bipods, a sound moderator.
Morning everyone, me and Matt have just gone on a stalk, so look out for that video. We've got a lovely little roebuck this morning. I thought it would be interesting to show you guys, and certainly for myself as part of my FAC journey, to have a little look at Matt's gun, the Blaser R8, and basically get him to do a sort of full breakdown of what he's got on there and sort of how it works, etc.
Alex mentioned the safety earlier on the rifle when I was about to take a shot on the deer, saying it was quite like a shotgun. So I thought it might be handy just to go through the features of it quickly, really, and how I really got to using the R8. And he's absolutely dead right. So just to show you, empty rifle at the moment is safe. Your safety here is simple push forward. So push forward to fire, and then if you want to deactivate or decock it, push forward, push down, and it's back again. So this is completely safe. So if you drop it or anything like that, there's no cocked spring at all. The actual act of taking that off safe, that actually cocks the hammer itself. So when it is safe, it is properly safe. There's no risk of bump firing it. Bump firing is when you could have, you could drop it, and when you have a bolt action rifle, the act of pushing the bolt forward and closing it, that cocks the spring. You then have a safety catch which will release your the sear on the trigger, and that is what will release the pin. So with the bolt action rifle, the fact that your bolt is closed means that your pin is locked. With a push button like this, that cocks the spring, that uncocks the spring. In terms of safety, it's pretty decent. This, as I think Alex may have mentioned before, or the boys in the deer cast, it's a straight pull. So you have no lifting of the bolt and pulling it back. It's straightforward. Pull back, push forwards. It's quite a quick system if you're mostly forward-driven game, really. But if you are into a group of fallow, or you're trying to take 2 or 3 row out of a group, having a very quick, snappy action is good. Not just because of the speed of the reload, it's just that you've got no wobble. You've got no lifting up and putting the bolt back and pushing it forward and closing it. You do get a bit of wobble, so if you're on the sticks, you can just use one hand really to do it. So it is a nice, quick, slick system. This is in something called an ultimate chassis. So as I think most of you know, you can swap the barrels out on these quite simply. Simple case of unscrewing the barrel from the two lugs here, and you can then replace the bolt face, which is, again, it's a very straightforward process of magazine out. This to replace the bolt face, click, put a new one in, back in, and away you go. You can also have to, if depending on which caliber you use, you might have to change the magazine insert. This one, for example, is okay for all of these calibers here, but depending on how long your cartridge is, you might have to change the bolt, change the magazine insert. And that's quite a simple case of doing that. Job's a good one. If you want to take the scope off, it's a saddle mount system. Done. Back on. On. Complete return to zero, no issues with that at all. So if you're out, say, deer stalking in the morning, and you do want to change it to a different setup, you can have your deer barrel on there, your daylight scope, and then if you want to switch to night vision later on, you can swap the whole barrel out to a 223 or whatever foxing rifle you want to use. Swap your scope off to, I don't know, whatever thermal scope you want to use, and you're away. Why I like this is for when I'm taking clients out, you can adjust your cheek. This is the ultimate chassis. You can adjust your cheek height, the sort of cone pressure on your face, the stock height, the stock length. So if you've got a client who's particularly big or particularly small, you can make it so it actually fits them properly. So they're not having to try and work around something that's already unfamiliar to them. This little thing at the back here, this is a monopod. This is actually nothing to do with Blaser. This is just like a separate add-on feature. These are for more long distance. If you're trying to get a really nice stable platform, you will find that gripping the back of the rifle can help. A lot of the time you do that with your fist when you ball up your fist at the back like this. If you've got this at the back, you can actually pull that into your shoulder and make minor adjustments by just tweaking, either gripping that and lengthening it, or making minor adjustments and screwing it in. When we were in Dorset a while ago and I had that stag at 400 metres, I deployed that and it made a bit more of a steady shot. I mean, at those sorts of distances, little differences do make a big difference. And
can you show me that again? I don't understand what you're doing with that. I don't. Go on.
Really?
Yeah. No.
So,
how are you using that? What is it?
Well, you've got you need it in conjunction with a front end like a bipod. So this is like a bipod stud.
Oh, I see what you mean. So
That's
you're lying down at this point.
You're lying down.
You're prone, right?
Yeah. So you're prone here.
Okay.
You've got the gun tucked into you, and you're holding it here like this. So you've got your nice stable. So there's no
makes
float,
sense.
You see, so you're holding it like that. That's how you would.
Yeah, that now makes sense.
Yeah, bipod. Yeah, these are detachable. I used to have a Harris on mine for years and years and years, and the Harris, they always sort of attach to the your front sling stud. And when you're doing miles and miles, they dig into your shoulder. It's not the most comfortable. They weigh nothing, and they're absolutely bloody bulletproof, those things. The detachable bipods are a massive luxury, but they are, for the amount I actually use a bipod, 90-95% of my shots are off sticks, because I can shoot just as far on those things pretty much as I can off a bipod anyway. It just makes it not having them attached to the gun, less weight on the shoulder. Certainly nothing digging in my back, and if I need them, they take 2 minutes to put on. The only thing you've got to remember is to pick the bloody things up afterwards, because they're not cheap, these things, especially the Spartan stuff. But it is bloody good. Strap. This is from the guys at Deer Central. This is like a 3-point strap. I have been using it, to be honest, I mostly use it after I've taken a shot, because at least there's less pressure on having to get rid of it, having to deploy it. Simple button system here. Comes round. Here. And then, so it means that when you're walking, you're not constantly pulling your gun back onto your shoulder. The only thing personally for me is that when you're trying to get onto a deer and you're deploying your sticks, it does get tangled up around here. You've got to deploy it from there, and then swing it round to go on your sticks. You've got a lot of stuff hanging off, but it's still pretty slick and smooth. But when putting it back on again, it doesn't really take any time at all, really. It's just there's quite a loud sort of click, but it's no difference. You can just, I haven't really been playing around with it too much, but a bit of an audible click. No drama really. I just prefer to be able to whip it on and off. Scope. Alex asked for a basic intro into the scope. I was just explaining you can't really do a basic intro into this scope because it's pretty technical. Yeah, Swarovski DS Gen 2, it's superb piece of kit. It is a bit heavy, and in low light situations, like proper low light, you'll find you need to have a lot less magnification on, but I haven't noticed any discernible lack of light transfer. You won't, with say their Z8R, you could get away with say up to 8-10 times at very low light. With this, you need a lot less. There's a lot of technology inside the scope here, which basically doesn't mean there's quite as much light transfer. But what does it do? This has a built-in rangefinder. It also has a built-in ballistics program, which not only tells you how far away it is and what your bullet drop is, but it actually adjusts the reticle for you. So you will have a up-down reticle. You'll also have like a windage bars on it as well. So not that I do an awful lot of long distance shooting in wind, but if you had a deer that was 250 metres away and you could basically ping it on the target, it'll put a little laser dot on the target, and it will then tell you on the crosshair exactly where the adjustment is for the ballistic data in there. So you program you actually enter the bullet data into the scope, and that tells you what your drop is going to be. It'll also tell you what your windage adjustment needs to be, depending on what sort of it won't calculate the wind for you. You would have to program in the wind on what is actually what it's doing. So I can actually show you quickly here. If I just put this on pairing, I have these press these two buttons here, and this will start flashing green, just like that. On the app, connected. Simple as that. So what I could do now is I could go and I could change the wind speed from 3 to 6 to 5 to 10, upload it into here, and then that will change my my bars here, and this is what you're looking at. So if this is your scope, this is just illustrative. So that's your distance there, and that's how your reticle changes. And these are the windage bars that you're looking at.
Cool.
It's pretty sick.
It's not really the Blaser R8, is it?
What do you want to do?
It was meant to be about the R8.
Okay, well, I've done the R8.
You haven't, because you haven't done the
Finally, sound moderator. These come in all different shapes and sizes. This is a Freya and Devik. The end says sour, I think.
Oh.
Oh no, it does say Freya and Devik. Yeah, they've sour white labelled it on this one. But yeah, Freya and Devik is really good. It's not super long, it's not super fat. It adds a nice profile to it in terms of one thing I would say is that each and every time, or before you put the gun back in the cabinet, remove your moderator, just clean your crown. Yeah, you want a nice, clean, non-sooty crown.
And that's it.
That's it.
If you've got any, if you've got any questions, what was that noise?
It was you going, oh.
So if you've got any questions for me or Matt, or any requests at all, let us know. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Hit that subscribe button.